They never stop the dance. One day inside the station in Amsterdam, perchance, the men were dancing side by the man with a crooked glance. They turned to face each other. It was just happenstance that these two men would meet that day and do that fateful dance. Wow, you can really dance. Wow, you can really dance. He went. They said we've both been dancing all this time. What a coincidence. And then they danced together like no one's danced before. The diplomats were dancing. They cancelled all of the war. The whole world celebrated. Was no more violence. And all because these men crossed paths. What a coincidence. Let's dance. The first man's name was Kiki. He wore such little pants. His brother was the child.
Great. Good afternoon, Austin High School. My name is Mrs. Gunderson, and I am one of your assistant principals here at the high school. I would like to go over some behavior expectations before the assembly begins. Number 1, please remain in your seat during today's presentation. Number 2, put away those cell phones and listen attentively, please. And then after the presentation, I'm going to come right back up and let you know when it's time to go to the 7th period. All right, here we go. David Flood is the married father of 2 children. He is a board member of Kids Plus, a nonprofit which helps special needs children. He is a member of the Drug and Alcohol Task Force in his hometown of Northport, New York, on Long Island. David has been a lector in his church parish for over 30 years. He is also a hospice volunteer that visits with terminally ill patients. He has spoken in 38 states and Canada to more than 400,000 students. His social media videos have received over 125 million views. David is addicted to Sour Patch Kids, Sour Skittles, Starbucks coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, and anything else with sugar or caffeine. Please welcome David Flood.
Kumusta na ho kayo sa inyong lahat? Taga saan? Ang asawa ko ay nakatira sa Parañaque. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys want me to do the presentation in English? Okay. No problem. I'll do the presentation in English if someone can tell me what language that was. What I heard, what did you say? Arabic? No. Who said Italian? That's incorrect. Ma'am, do you know? Shh. Is it, I can't hear? Calm down in the blue seats, okay? Yes. What's it called? And where do they speak that? Excellent. So the islands of the Philippines, the people are what? Filipino, and they speak, she said it, Tagalog. So what I just said to you guys was, I said, "Como están ho kayo sa inyong lahat?" That's a very formal welcome in Tagalog. And then if I met another Filipino person, I would say to them, is it coming back to you now? You saw me 3 years ago? If I met another Filipino person, I would say to them, "Taga saan?" and that means, "Where are you from?" And then I would respond to that, "Ang asawa ko ay nakatira sa Parañaque." That means my wife is from a city in the Philippines called Parañaque. My wife is Filipino. And the reason I start all of my talks that way, no matter where I'm speaking, is because I love my Filipino family. I really love my Filipino family. And I think they love me. But here's the thing, guys. I don't know any other way to say this. My children don't look like me. I don't know if that's good or bad. How many think that's good? How many think that's bad? How many of you don't care? Yeah, we don't care. Why are you telling us this, Mr. Flood? Well, it comes up once in a while, and my children do not look like me, especially my daughter. My whole family is Asian. My whole family has thick, black, beautiful hair. They have the most beautiful brown almond eyes. And when we go to the beach, my whole family gets tan, and I get sunburned and skin cancer. That's not funny. Who's laughing at my pasty white skin? My inability to be, hey, and I'm not making fun of skin cancer because I have had it and I go to the dermatologist. I need to go to the dermatologist. But when my daughter Sarah was a baby, I was in a bank one time. And Sarah's a baby, right? So she's up on the counter in the bank in the thing you carry a baby in, the car, whatever. She's on the counter in the bank. And I'm making my transaction, minding my own business. And a woman behind me in the bank looks at me. And then she looks over at my daughter and she looks back at me and she says, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Where'd you get her?" So, listen, if you ask me a stupid question, I'm going to answer it because I'm very sarcastic. So I looked right at her and I said, "Walmart." Yeah, oh, you didn't hear about the big Filipino special? They were buy one, get one, BOGO, like buy one, get one free. People say things, let me rephrase that. We all say things without thinking, right? I'll never forget when I was your age, when I was in high school, my mom had all these little signs in our kitchen. There were probably like 10 of them, little like motivational sayings. And I don't remember what 9 said. 1 said, "Be sure brain is in gear before engaging mouth." So that means make sure your brain is working, operational, before you open your mouth and say something stupid that you're going to regret. So Sarah is awesome. She's 20. No, she's not. She's not awesome. She's a pain in the neck. She's awesome when she's not making fun of me. You know who Sarah's a lot alike? Have you guys all seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Yeah. Who are the 2 bratty girls in Willy Wonka? Veruca, and who's the other one? Violet? Yeah, all right. Imagine Veruca and Violet raised a child together. You guys are thinking, no way, Mr. Flood. Yes way. She's like, "Daddy, Daddy, 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 Daddy. Daddy, can you buy me? Daddy, I want a golden ticket. I want a pony. I want Tory Burch Ugg boots Patagonia. I want a Louis Vuitton pocketbook. I want an iPhone 21. I want..." Yeah, I'm like, whoa, Sarah, slow down. iPhone 21? There's no iPhone 21. Well, we'll dig up Steve Jobs and tell him to make me one because I want one right now. Pre-order for me. It's just a nightmare. And I still get nervous sometimes, guys, before I speak. I wasn't today because a little bit. But I was I was here 3 years ago. And what I do, before the pandemic, I was in 102 schools in 30 states in 2019. But when I get to a school and I'm nervous, what I'll do is I'll just sit in the parking lot for a little while and like pray, meditate, listen to soft music, drink my tea. Now, I know Sarah's getting ready for school, so what I'll do is I'll text her, just looking for some moral support because she loves her dad, not. So I'll text her. I'll be like, "Hey, Sarah, it's Daddy. I love you. I miss you. Can you text me back? Daddy, I love you." The hands folded emoji, the heart. "Daddy, you're going to be great. The kids are going to love you. Don't worry about it." Anything. She texts me the same freaking thing every time. "You're chubby and you have man boobs. You're obnoxious." So I write back, "Oh, cool. So do you, Sarah. You have man boobs too. Have a good day. Mine are bigger." I didn't text her that. One time I did. It's a nightmare. She's awesome when she's not making fun of me. She is me. She's like, well, I'll show you pictures later on anyway, but she doesn't look like me, but she acts like me. And my son Justin is awesome too. Justin is, he's 23 now. Justin likes anime. Yeah, a couple anime fans here. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's only two types of people on the entire planet. There's people who understand anime, and then there's everybody else. We're going to one, well, I'll tell you where we're going in 2 weeks, which is totally weird. But we're going to an anime con in Manhattan in New York City at the Javits in November 19th. We go to Comic-Con, Fan Fest, Boston, Chicago, New York City, Long Island, New Jersey. We go all over the place. And he loves doing cosplay. But now, you guys all know the weird movies, Conjuring, It, Omen. You know the Annabelle movie? Okay, you all know the Annabelle movie, right? How many of you seen Annabelle? Have you guys seen the movie? A lot of you seen the movie? Okay. So Justin's he's into the weird movies and stuff. Next weekend, we're going to a Paracon. That's a paranormal con in Waterbury, Connecticut. The Warrens, who were the people in the Annabelle movie, they've passed away. The husband did. I don't know if the mother's still alive. And their house was a museum, but they closed it. We're going to a Paracon. The Annabelle doll is going to be there in the hotel where we're staying. I'm not even going into the same room as that freaking thing. There's no way. Justin's like, Daddy, can we touch it? And I'm like, bro, I'll be in the car. You and your mom can go touch it. There's no way. He's a funny kid. And he likes, we go to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn every year. Okay, I'm just only going to say this twice. Water, coffee. So, coffee, water. I don't have an accent. So, and just a funny story about Justin. I know I speak funny. Just a funny story about Justin. When he was in 8th grade, I don't know if you remember back to 8th grade, freshman, Pacelli crew. Shout out to the Pacelli crew that's here from across the street. In 8th grade, you have a meeting with your counselor before you go to high school to talk about what high school is going to be like. So Justin has a meeting with his counselor at the end of high school, and he says to her, and I quote, he said, Mrs. Pelicano, when I get to high school, do I get a girlfriend? He thought you got assigned a girlfriend in high school. Like you were going to have a partner, right? I'm going back on the stage because I realize that you guys in the balcony can't see me. So I'm going to go back. Yeah, you got it. Bad planning on my part. And guys, my daughter is an important part of our family. My wife is an important part of our family. I am an important part of our family. But for me, and I only speak for me, Justin is just a little bit more important than the three of us. And the reason for that is that Justin has autism. And he's awesome. He's an awesome kid with autism. He's kind, he's caring, he's compassionate, he's funny, but he doesn't understand how to interact in social situations. He can't look somebody in the eye. He doesn't know how to sit down at a table with a group of people and have a conversation because all he wants to do is talk about himself. He doesn't have friends. He spends 99.9% of his time alone. And I try and bring him with me when I travel. He was at school a couple years ago, and he called me from school 32 times in one day, in 8 hours. And that's not because Justin didn't have anyone to talk to. There were lots of people for him to talk to. There were hundreds of people for him to talk to. It's that no one would talk to him. I was with a dad a couple years ago who's got a son who's got special needs. He's younger than Justin. And we were talking, I was having a conversation with this guy, and there was just like a natural break in our conversation, a moment of silence. And I looked up at him and I said, if somebody came to me right now, and I would say this to you right now, if somebody came to me right now and offered me $100 million, they said, Dave, you can have all of this money, you can have $100 million. Or you can have one genuine, kind, caring, compassionate, lifelong friend for your son. I would choose that friend every day of the week, 365 days a year, over all the money in the world. And when Justin first got to high school, when he was freshman, he struggled his first 2 months of school. He struggled all through school, but the first 2 months of school, he probably got in trouble, I'm going to say at least a half a dozen times, got sent home a few times for doing something stupid, but there's got to be, consequences for any kid, a typical kid or a special needs kid. And the last time he got in trouble, the fifth or sixth time he got in trouble, he came home, and my wife was a little closer with him back then than I was, and she pulled him aside and said, Justin, what's going on at school, buddy? How can Daddy and I support you? How can we help you acclimate to high school better? How can we make things better for you? And he looked at her and he said, Mommy, I'm lonely. And when my wife told me that, I couldn't process that then or now because Justin went to school with 2,000 kids. There were 2,000 kids in his high school. And all I can think is, how can anybody be lonely in a building where there's over 2,000 people walking around? How do we let that happen? And I didn't come out to Austin for 2 days, and I'm going to Hammond, Wisconsin. I didn't leave my family for a week for sympathy. I don't want you guys to feel sorry for me, and I don't want you to feel sorry for Justin. Most of you, all of you probably never meet Justin. But if me talking about those things helps you to, one, connect with a place in yourself where you felt lonely, because we all have, everybody in this building has felt lonely, adults included, no matter how high up on the food chain you think you are, academically, athletically, socially, artistically, musically. If I connect with you there and you're like, yeah, Mr. Flood, I know that. I know how it feels to be left out, not included in, not part of, not one of. I know how that feels. You think back to elementary school, to middle school, or even now. That's a good job. I will have done a good job, a pretty good job. Good job, Dave. Did a good job. But if I connect with you in a place where you can realize, recognize, and acknowledge loneliness in another person, not just a special needs kid, but any kid who's different, atypical, shy, introverted, who doesn't know how to come out. And I always say this, I've been very careful about saying this. Being shy and introverted, guys, is not a bad thing. It's not unhealthy. It is when you build a wall around yourself. It is when you don't let other people in. I always tell shy kids, you got to take a little bit of a step if you want to reach out to people. And hopefully others who are maybe a little bit more outgoing will take a step, 2 steps towards you, or a bigger step towards you. My talk's not about autism, guys. It's about inclusion. A special needs kid, somebody who doesn't speak the language, somebody who's new in the school, somebody from a different race, religion, culture, whatever. Can you be someone who includes others? And I give 2 different talks. So I give this talk that I'm giving to you guys on dignity and respect. Then I also do a talk on drug and alcohol awareness and suicide prevention in middle schools and high schools. So I try and read and take in as much information as I can and then process and give back to kids in terms they can understand. And I was given a talk in Virginia several years ago, and in between one night I was in my hotel and I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I'm watching this program on the opioid epidemic. It was on drugs and alcohol and addiction. And just to throw a little side note out during the pandemic, twice as many people have overdosed in the last 18 months than normally do. Normally, right? Normally we lose 50 to 60,000, but over 100,000 people have overdosed. And nobody's talking about that in the last 18 or 20 months. And what you guys also need to know, without going off on a tangent, is I've been in recovery for 31 years. So I have not used drugs and alcohol in 31 years, since I was 26 years old. And obviously, in that time, I've done a little bit of work on myself. So I'm watching this program on addiction for 20 minutes, and I'm like, I know that. I've heard that. I know that drug. Yep, okay, right? And I'm like, you know what, I know this. I'm really tired. I'm going to go to sleep. So I leave the timer on the TV, falling asleep. There's maybe 5 minutes to go in this program on addiction and suicide, and I heard 3 words that woke me up. I couldn't go back to bed that night. I've been obsessed with that topic ever since then, and I've used those 3 words in every talk that I've given since then. Ryan, if we could have the slide. Those 3 words are loneliness is toxic. And I sat up in my bed thinking, holy crap, I've never heard that, read that. No one's ever said that to me before. Now I'm sitting there thinking, wow, Justin said he was lonely. I better read up on this. And I found out that as early as 5th grade, kids can build a wall around themselves that's so high and so thick that no one can get in. And it doesn't take too long for someone to equate loneliness. They started doing studies on people in social isolation, or people who live in loneliness and social isolation, who block themselves off from the world. And they started with veterans, people, men and women coming home from war. And they found out, and now they're starting to study down to younger people, and they found out that loneliness is actually contagious. kind of like a virus. And this is the only thing I'll say about this. What an amazing thing this is, this computer that I carry in my pocket, this entertainment device, TV, computer, encyclopedia, communication device, phone. It isolates me from others. Sometimes it connects me with others, but a lot of times it isolates me from others. Can I have the next slide, Ryan? Can you be someone who reaches over to, out to, down to, back to someone, goes through a wall, around a wall, over a wall, under a wall? The walls we build around us, guys, keep out the sadness, but they also keep out the joy. That's inclusion. So what I want to do in the next 30 minutes or so that we have together is give you 3 simple challenges to work on. 3 simple things that I know will make a huge difference in your day, but more importantly, in the day of people around you. You guys okay with that? I said, are you guys okay with that? All right. Ellis. Yeah, I'm still back at the middle school. Austin High School in Pacelli. What I want you to do, I want you to turn to someone sitting near you, next to you. I want you to look deeply into their eyes. Not too deeply. It's not a marriage proposal. And I want you to say this: when I look at you, I see blank, and fill in the blank, go back and forth, be creative, go. When I look at you, I see blank. "30 seconds. "20 seconds. "10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, finish up. Let me see a couple hands. Someone raise their hand and tell me what you said to the person sitting next to you. Yes, sir. Blue sweatshirt. Give it up, bro. Someone else had their hand up over here? I don't care. I'll call on people. Sir? It's very profound. And what did he say back to you, sir? What did you reply back? Yes? Yes? You see 7 different people? Are you schizophrenic? Well, I don't know. I shouldn't make fun of that. Are you 7 different people? You have 2 what? 2, you have Tourette's. Oh, okay. Okay. And what did you say back to him? A sense, everybody say, "Ah," a sense of joy. That's awesome. Can I get a volunteer? I need a volunteer. Yes, right there. Come on up here and join me. Give her a round of applause, guys. What is your name? Natalie? Now no? Now no. I like that. Say it one more time. Namo. Nice to meet you, Namo. Give Namo a round of applause. Namo, what grade are you in? You're a 10th grader. Okay. So Namo, come on over here in the center. So Namo and I are going to do this exercise. I've never met a Namo before. Namo and I are going to do this exercise now, and she's going to look at me and say, "Mr. Flood, when I look at you, I see, can you do that?" I'm going to tell you what not to say. I'm in a middle school in New Jersey a few years ago, Namo. I bring up this 7th grade boy. He comes walking up. He looks at me. He goes, "Yeah, Mr. Flood, when I look at you, you look like you're from the 60s. And another kid in the back yells out, "Nah, man, he looks like Doc Brown from Back to the Future." And then I brought up a freshman girl last year, Namo, and she looked very nice looked very nice when she walked up on the stage. And she looks at me and she goes, "Mr. Floyd, when I look at you, you look like Squidward." Yeah. And then the worst was, I'm in a middle school. I'm weird. I have lunch with middle schoolers. I don't know why. I'm just weird. So I'm having lunch with a group of middle school girls. Bad idea. 7th graders. Well, relax. It was lunch. So we're having lunch together, and we're laughing and joking, and they're asking me about my family, and I'm telling them stories, and they're talking about the assembly, and all of a sudden, Namo, they all put their food down at one time, and they looked at me, and they go, "Mr. Flood, we voted. We think you look like Rick from Rick and Morty." Last time I have lunch with 7th grade girls. Namo, you ready? Mr. Flood,
Mr. Flood,
when I look at you,
when I look at you,
I see.
I see another human being.
That's pretty basic. Give Namo a round of applause. Stay there, I get a turn. Another human being, I like that. That's it. Namo, when I look at you, I see me. Namo, do you like this shirt? Would medium work for you? I'm guessing you're a medium. Give Namo a round of a medium. That's a medium. There you go. Give Namo a round of applause again. Now who wants to volunteer? Yeah, your hand didn't go up before. Your hand didn't go up before. Your hand. No, I'm just kidding. Shirts are on my website, davidjflood.com. I know. It was a rhetorical question. I wanted to make the point that volunteering is good because you might get something for it. So listen, Namo and I don't look alike. So in order to see myself as her, where am I looking? Who said soul? Yo, that's deep, bro. Like Superman. I'm actually looking in Namo's and her heart. And where is Namo's heart? It's on the in. It's on the in. Ryan, slide. Your first challenge today, guys, is stop looking at people on the outside and look on the inside. And I know that's hard to do, to look at someone who doesn't look like you, walk like you, talk like you, act like you, and look at someone who's acting like an idiot. And you say, what an idiot. When I see people acting like an idiot, I say, you know what? I've been an idiot. That could be me being an idiot. And I know there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. You guys are in high school. You should know this. Sympathy, I feel sorry for you. Empathy, I know how you feel. Then you want to go to another level, you act on your empathy. You stop when someone can't open their locker. You stop when you sense that somebody's having a crappy day. You stop and you help them. That's true empathy. My favorite author, one of my favorite authors, is a guy named Neil Donald Walsh. And Neil Donald Walsh says, stop looking at things with your mind and look with your heart, because your mind always wants to protect you, but your heart wants to connect you. Look with your, and kids, lately, they've been saying it to me in schools all the time because of the social isolation. Kids are like, Mr. Flood, how do you do that? How do you look at somebody else and see yourself in them? I'm saying, well, you pause, you stop. Before you go to that place of judgment, you stop and you think, that could be, that is me. What's your first challenge? Look on thee. What's your first challenge? Look on thee. So, you know, when Sarah was in middle school, in 7th grade, she had a group of 5 girlfriends. I don't know what you guys call it in Austin. Clique, squad, posse, gang, what? What do you call it? And her besties, whatever. So her group of girls, I don't know what they were, but these girls were inseparable. I thought they'd be in like each other's bridal parties when they got older. They'd been friends for 9 years, Girl Scouts, kick line, cheerleading, lacrosse, soccer. They did everything together until one day in the middle of 7th grade, those 5 girls came to Sarah in a group, in a circle, and said, Sarah, we don't want to be friends with you anymore. You're out. Thank you very much. No, with no reason, no rhyme or reason. One girl decided to get the other girls to gang up and just boot her out of the group. Sarah's resilient. She went and talked to a teacher. She didn't wait till she got home to talk to her mom. She talked to a teacher and a counselor, because Sarah knows what you don't talk out, you act out. What does that mean? It means exactly that. What you don't talk out, you act out. When something difficult happens, you need to talk to somebody about it, because if you don't, it's coming out on the wrong person, at the wrong place, at the wrong time. Always. We always misplace our anger. That's what's happening with people now. The reason, you don't have to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist to understand why everybody's angry now. Anger, one part of anger comes from you haven't resolved issues. When you have no control, which we haven't had, well, some people, I guess, maybe think they've had control in the last 20 months, but you really never, if you think about it, you really never have control. But when you have no control, anything you can hold on to, anything where you can gain control, and that's what causes violence, because it's like, no, I'm right? It's because you're angry about you've been to wear a mask for 20 months. Or you got to go, they mandated that you got to get a vaccine. or whatever. And I'm not going politics, but I'm just saying people are angry, so anytime they get a chance to say, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. That's where it comes from. So Sarah's smart, and there's 2 reasons that I tell you that story about her. And I include myself in everything I say to you guys because I am like 35 lifetimes from being, 35 million lifetimes from being perfect. I'm going to have to come back a lot to figure this out, but I'm working on it. I include myself in everything I say to you guys. First reason I tell you that story about Sarah is we all act differently in groups. We just do. Is it good, Mr. Flood? Sometimes. Is it bad, Mr. Flood? Sometimes. Groups groups can build you up. Absolutely they can. They tear you down a lot quicker. You know, the worst example of group mentality would be a mob that's rioting, burning, looting, whatever you want to call it, right? And I know that there are people who would argue, and I'm sure some of the defenses for people who get accused of rioting, I'm laughing at this because I think it's pathetic, is, oh, he or she was influenced by the group around them. Really? Because I think I have to be the attorney on the other side, because I think we're responsible for our own individual actions no matter what's going on around us. You are in control. You always have control of yourself. So if you guys forget, and I hope you remember a lot of what I say, but if you forget, please do this one thing. When you go home tonight, before you go to bed, go in the bathroom, close the door, turn the lights on, and look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this question. And the answer to the question is not from me or your mom and dad or your brothers and sisters or your teachers or your friends or it's not for anybody but you to do a little introspection. Introspection is self-inspection. It's I'm going to take my own inventory. I'm going to take my own temperature. I'm going to see how I am. How am I doing? Ask yourself. Ryan, if we could have the next slide. And stay on that one. Thank you. Am I the same person one-on-one that I am when I get around my friends? Guys, I got suspended from high school for a lot of different things. And even in grammar school, I was a nightmare with the nuns, just nightmare. And I went to a Catholic high school. I went to Holy Family Diocesan High School and 8 years of parochial school, St. Anthony of Padua. And I was just but I never got in trouble alone, ever. It was always because I was trying to show off in front of my friends, or I was doing something to impress other people, or I was with a group of people who were doing something stupid. We all act differently in groups. Now, if you want to check objectively, don't ask your mom and dad. Go ask a teacher. Because I've had 100 principals or administrators, counselors come up to me and say, Dave, Mr. Flood, what a nice young man he is. What a wonderful young man. Until he gets around his friends. Or what a lovely young lady she is. She's so nice, so sweet, so well-behaved, she's got great grades, and then she gets around her friends. So are you the same person, one-on-one, that you are when you get around your friends? And the second reason I tell you that story about Sarah, because she did the absolute right thing. She went and talked to people. You guys have no idea. I can't say this in a strong enough way. You have no idea the impact that you can have on adults. We are just big versions of you. I speak for all the adults in this building when I assure you there's no difference between us and you. We're just older. That's it. Maybe a little wiser. Maybe not. I don't know. We're just big versions of you. And the only people, my wife works in a hospital, the only people who were thrown into more of turmoil, tornado, tsunami, hurricane, whatever you want to call this pandemic, other than people who work in hospitals, we're teachers. We're going to teach what? Remotely. Oh, and I have to keep the kids engaged? How? Really? Wait, how do I take attendance? They didn't show up? They have to have their screen on. Oh, now we're going to do hybrid? I'm going to have some kids in front of me and some will be online? Okay. How do I do that? I didn't know I was going to have to do that. And maybe some of them have adjusted, but you got, and I have family at home. Oh, wait. And I have to teach, but I have to take care of my 2 kids, and my husband's here, and the dog is here, and I don't have a separate room to go in with my laptop. Oh, but that's fine. I can teach these kids. Hold on, my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old that I have to take. Chaos. And I'm sure they did the best they can, and they continue to do the best they can. See, the weird thing is it's not weird, it's just sad. It's sad and weird. Since 1999, since Columbine, educators' first job, it isn't education anymore. It's safety, 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 then education. And when you try and combine those two things, it can be really confusing for administration and staff. Your second challenge for today, Ryan, if we could have the next slide, is to find 2 adults in this building. I don't care if it's a custodian, a lunch lady, a counselor, a secretary in the office, an administrator, a teacher. I don't care who it is. You find them, and listen, you don't want to shake hands, no problem. The pandemic's going away. My slides are not going away. I shake hands with people. You look them in the eye, you say, you know what? Whatever the name is, I just want to say thank you to you for keeping me safe and for keeping all the kids here safe at Austin High School. 2 people, and you look them in the eye. What's your first challenge? Look on the. What's your first challenge? Look on the. Second challenge, thank 2. Where are you going to look when you say thank you? Do you guys trust me? Who said no? Say, we trust you, Mr. Flood. Say, we won't think you're weird, Mr. Flood. I don't care if you think I'm weird because I know I'm weird. So you thinking it is not going to change what I think of myself. Did you guys, don't fall out of the balcony, but did you guys know that if you look somebody in the eyes for 9 seconds or longer, you can't help but fall in love with them? Hey, stop looking at him over there. You're not getting married, bro. Not going home together. It's not that. I told you. I asked you not to get freaked out. It's not. It's human love. It's I see you, and if you don't want to fall in love, make sure you stop at 8.9 seconds. It's not a staring contest. And guys, I said it before. Justin has a lot of people have a problem with eye contact. It's intense. I get it, but just acknowledge someone. What's your first challenge? Look on the. Second challenge, thank 2. Where are you going to look when you say thank you? For how long? Who said 8.9? Detention. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. All the teachers are going to be emailing the administrators later on. Why are the kids staring at us? I have 20 sets of eyes on me. I can't teach like this. They're staring at me. Stop staring at me. Look somebody in the eye. So, you know, when Justin was born, he developed typically for the first 12 or 14 months. And when he got to be 14 months old, he stopped making any kinds of gibberish noises, speaking, whatever. Nothing. Dead silent. Didn't speak again until he was 5. Nothing. And now he won't shut up. Be careful what you pray for. He's probably called me like 3 times. 2 things Justin wants to know when I go out and speak. Is there a collectible toy store in the area? And there is. I'm going to go to one or a couple up in Minneapolis, I think. And he's like, Daddy, is that a red state or a blue state you're speaking in? Like purple, Justin. It's like kind of pinkish purple. And there's some people who do that, and there's some. When he's 18 months old, my sister's a speech pathologist, and she said, David, Justin is delayed. Take him to a developmental pediatrician and have him evaluated. And we did. And he came out as having an autism spectrum disorder. We're walking out of the doctor's office. One thought going through my mind. About me. I wasn't thinking about Justin. I wasn't thinking about my wife. I was thinking about me. Selfish, me, me. Because I thought I'd have a son who'd be just like me, play baseball, football, lacrosse, just like me. But I had to learn that Justin wasn't going to be just like me. He was going to be just like all of you guys. Unique, quirky, important, special, different, one of a kind. The other saying we have in the autism community is if you've met one person with autism, guess what? You've met one person with autism. No 2 are alike. On the outside, on the inside, I think we're all alike. 2.5, we put them on a bus to go to a school. It's an hour from our house with no other kids, driver and aide and Justin. Does well there, bring him back into our district. And when Justin was in middle school and high school, he would come home from school every single day. He'd walk in the front door, and I'd say, hey, buddy, where'd you eat lunch today? And he'd say, Daddy, I ate alone. Every day for 7 years. And I swore that if I ever got a chance to go out and talk to kids, I would tell them no one should have to eat alone. Now, listen, I'm fine with someone eating alone. You want to read, study, meditate, write poetry, do homework, listen to music, play a game. That's wonderful. What I'm not okay with is someone not offering to sit with that person. You might offer to sit with them, they may decline. Great. Maybe somebody across the cafeteria sees you offer and that makes them feel good. When you perform an act of kindness for somebody, guys, 3 people benefit. Them, you, and anyone else who witnesses that act. You might invite them to sit at your table. They may say nothing. At least they're part of, one of, included in. It's never about the conversation. It's about the company. Ryan, if we could have the next slide. From this day forward, I don't know what the COVID protocol is for you guys eating. Your third challenge at Austin High School is no one eats alone. Ryan, go to the next one. No one eats alone. And you can go to the next one, Ryan. What's your first challenge? Look on the second challenge, thank to. Where are you going to look when you say thank you? For how long? Third challenge from this day forward at Austin High School is what? No one? No one? You know, I was telling this story 6 or 7 years ago about Justin eating alone, and I almost like fainted on stage. I was like, had this flashback, and I just blanked out for a second. What I didn't tell you guys before, you know, I told you I've been in recovery for 31 years, but what I didn't tell you was when I was 12, 13 years old, my mom had to throw my dad out of the house because my dad was an alcoholic. And his addiction destroyed our family. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, destroyed our family. My brothers and sisters were gone. Marriage, Navy, college, gone. Me and my mom alone. My dad was a bricklayer. I worked with him for 14 years, from the time I was 12, every day off from school, every summer, every holiday, every weekend. 14 years till he died of cirrhosis of liver and cancer when I was 26. Every year, I'd see him the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I'd have a half a day of school. Or the Saturday before Thanksgiving, I'd work with him, and I'd say to him, hey, Dad, where are you having Thanksgiving dinner this year? 14 times. He said to me, David, I'll be eating at the diner. Alone. And I never had the courage to say to my mom when I was a teenager or in my early 20s, can I have Thanksgiving dinner with Dad this year? And I'll regret that for the rest of my life. And I know it's not healthy for kids to be around their parents who are addicted. I get it. My mom was barely okay with it. There's just something about people eating alone that irks me, that there's someone who could sit with them or have them join them. No one eats alone. You guys want to see family pictures? Ryan. That is me. Next one. That's, yeah. I have a small Irish nose. How did, like, Squidward's got this massive appendage coming from his face. Next one, Ryan. Unbelievable. Next one, Ryan. Okay. I color my hair once in a while. Next one, Ryan. That's my Filipino boss. Oh, wife, I'm sorry. Did I say boss? Some days she's a boss. Some days she's still a boss. Stop on that one for a second, Ryan. So when Justin was in high school, well, I would say maybe the end, like October of freshman year, one day he comes home from school and he throws the door open like Kramer on Seinfeld. And he comes, he goes, Daddy, I want to go to the prom. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, Justin, sit down for a second, dude. I go, bro, that's awesome, man. Where'd you hear about the prom? Oh, I just know the prom is in high school. Okay, bro. Justin, when you get to be a senior, we'll figure it out. So now I'm stressing out for 3 years. I'm like, oh my God, how are we going to get this kid to the prom? He would talk about the prom constantly through high school. And then you get to be a junior, signs would go up in the building. March, April, May, prom season. Prom, you know, are you going to the prom? All the information about the prom announcements. The kid was obsessed with it. So when he was a junior, in I think March or April of that year, we're at a dance for his special needs camp friends. So these are kids who he goes to camp with. They don't go to his high school. And we're at like a Knights of Columbus or something like that. And after the dance is over, we're up in a room, and I'm having coffee. I'm chatting with some of the adults. And we're like, oh, you know, we're talking about what the kids do and everything like that. Justin's about, I don't know, 5, 6 feet behind me, and he's talking to a girl named Larissa, who's a year older than him, and she went to a different high school. Now, anytime my children, to this day, because I'm a busybody, I'm a nosybody, anytime my kids are talking to anybody, and if they're within earshot of me, this is me. When Justin talks to girls, this is me. Because I never know what's coming out of his mouth. And I don't think I should do that. And they're talking a foreign language. They were speaking anime. I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? And then out of nowhere, Larissa, Justin, I was wondering if you might like to, would you go to my prom with me? Wait for it. This is me. What? So I politely excuse myself. Would you guys just excuse me for a second? My son's being invited to the prom. I'll be back. I'm an inch away from Justin. In the history of mankind, I guarantee you, you have never heard this answer. Gentlemen, under no circumstances should you use this answer should you be invited to the prom. And if you ever invite someone to the prom, I hope you don't hear this answer. Larissa, Justin, do you think you might come to my prom with me? My boy, who I thought I raised so well, Mr. Motivational Speaker, who's been talking about the prom for 3.5 freaking years. He looks at her and he goes, yeah, what the hell? What? Coffee. I was like, spit coffee out of my mouth. It's coming out my nose. I grab him. I'm like, what did you just say, dude? Gentlemen, if a girl ever invites you to the prom, do not say that. You say, I'd love to go. What a great idea. What are you wearing? What time should I pick you up? Anything but what the H. Ryan, that's Justin and Larissa at the prom. Next one, day after the prom. That's an anime convention in his tuxedo as the Joker. Rye, next one. That's Sarah on the left, non-fur, holding the Puggle scrub, and Justin is holding Primrose from the Hunger Games, the Maltipoo. It's kind of a rude pose Prim is doing. I don't know. Yeah, next one. That is me and some Filipino kid who makes me buy her stuff. She's always on my back. Next one. That's some other Filipino kid. I don't know who that is. Ryan, next one. I wake up in my house some mornings. I'm like, who are these Filipino people living in my house? Why are you here? I love my Filipino family. And I want to be very clear about this, guys. There's 7 billion people on the planet. I speak for one, me. Being in an interracial marriage has taught me more about the world. It has given me such an awesome understanding. My wife's from a third world country. She grew up with nothing in the Philippines. And it's just given me such a better understanding of everything last year. Not just last year, it's been going on for hundreds of years. Just the understanding of that. I mean, I joke around about it. I say Sarah doesn't look like me, but you know what that is? That's a sarcastic Irishman in a Filipino body. Like, we're all the same. And by the way, so why do you show? I didn't show these pictures when I was here a few years ago. You look at that picture and you say, oh my God, Mr. Floyd, your family looks so happy. And are we? Generally, yes. But are we dysfunctional? Extremely, yes. Like, you can't look at that picture and see that boy has autism. You can't look at that picture and see that that girl had to come home from college because she had anxiety. You can't look at that picture and see that that mom has OCD. You can't look at that picture and tell me that that dad was an alcoholic and hasn't used drugs or alcohol in 31 years, and then he still gets angry and curses and breaks things in his house every once in a while and yells at his kids in his underwear from the top of the stairs. Is that TMI? What's the matter? Your dads don't yell at you in their underwear? Oh, maybe I really am weird. I'll be yelling at Sarah, like I'll be yelling at her. I'll be getting dressed from the top of the stairs, and she'll go like this. Oh, there he is, the motivational speaker. If only those kids could see you now. In my dad bod. Anyway, what's the point of the picture, Mr. Flood? Do not compare yourself with someone else. Do not compare your family with another family. Do not compare your insides with someone else's outsides. Don't compare what you have and someone else's has. And especially don't do it on social media. You look at these people on TikTok and Instagram. Oh my God, look at her body. Oh, she's got beautiful teeth. Oh, look at the sneakers he's got. Oh my God. Stop it. Everybody has issues. Everybody's just doing the best they can. Next picture, Ryan. That's a picture of me and my best friend. That's my mom. And in January, I'll celebrate 8 years. 8 years. It'll be 8 years. My 8th birthday without her. Because she died December 10th, 2014. And yeah, a lot of people get upset about their relatives at the holidays. You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas. You know, they miss them. I don't miss my mom on the holidays. I miss my mom on my birthday. Because I was born on my mom's birthday. And we were tight. My best friend, best friend, told her everything. Threw my dad out. It was me and my mom, home, alone. Brothers and sisters were gone. So she got sick. She was a school nurse for 35 years. She was a nurse for 60, but she was a school nurse for 35 years. She loved kids. Didn't take crap from kids, but she loved kids. She, the night before she passed away, my brothers were in the living room, and I'm sitting with her up in her room, and I'm like tight with my mom. You guys all know the mom look? Yeah. Your mom looks at you and like, oh crap, here it comes, right? They just give you the look, and you're like, no, she's gonna say it again. My mom had this look, and she must have said it to me like 4,000 times, especially after Justin was diagnosed with autism. She would point at me. So I'm sitting with her the night before she passes away, and we're chatting, and I'm like cracking jokes, like being sarcastic. Oh, Mom, remember that time? And we're like laughing around, you know, talking. And what does she do? She gives me the mom look. And I'm like, you're kidding, right, Mom? Like, I know what you're going to say. I don't want to hear that now. You don't have to tell me that now. And she pointed at me weakly, and she said, that's great, David, because I'm going to tell you one more time. She used to say, your life is not about you. You selfish man, stop thinking your life is about you. Right, if we could have, thank you. Your life's not about you. It's about all the people around you. It's about Justin. It's about Sarah. It's about your wife. It's about the kids you get to go out and talk to. It's about your friends and your relatives and your brothers and sisters. Stop thinking your life is about you. And you know what? I say it to 4th and 5th graders, so I'm certainly going to say it to you guys. Your life's not about you. It never was. It never will be. If it was, you could take your phone and go live in a cave with a bottle of water. But you can't. You need people. It's about all the people around you that you can teach, touch, impact, and influence, but mostly it's about all the people that you love and all the people that love you. Some are sitting right next to you. That's how you source your life, from the people around you. Join PPP. You guys have no idea. You have one of the greatest volunteer organizations in the country here for young people, Peer Power Partners. It's an amazing organization. Mrs. Brinker is going to come up when I'm finished and just put a slide up to show you how you can join. But it's unbelievable what you can do to be a peer for anyone. Lots of special needs kids, but other kids too. And the powerful thing is, it's divine. Like, you do think, like, I guarantee I felt better giving Namo? Namo? Did I say it right? Namo? I'm so impressed. I'm old and I remembered your name. I felt better giving her the shirt than she did getting it. And that's because I know that Namo, on a human level, she said I was a human being, right? We are connected. When you do something nice for someone else, you're doing it for you too. What's your first challenge? Look on the second challenge, thank to. Where are you going to look when you say thank you? For how long? And your third challenge from this day forward is what? No one? No one? Ryan, can you go back in the slides? There's a slide that's got 3 pictures in it. Just go backwards, and I'll tell you when. Right there. Stop right there. So, guys, I'm just going to tell you one more story, 2 minutes, and thank you for staying with me. I don't know what it's like in Austin, but I'm assuming it's like Northport in New York. In 6th grade is about the time kids go out trick-or-treating alone. There's no more 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Hey, are we meeting at your house? You know, are you following them in the car? Who's bringing the way? Like, there's no more mom. There's no more play dates. Kids make the plans in middle school, connect at someone's house, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and off they go. Justin had no one to go when he was in no one to go with when he was in 6th grade. Justin's birthday is October 26th. Justin loves anime. Justin loves doing cosplay. Justin loves getting dressed up. What do you think his favorite holiday is? He wasn't going that year. He didn't want us following him in the car, and we didn't think he wasn't mature enough to go alone. He was staying home. He's up in his bedroom. I'm in the living room. I'm getting up and down from my chair to go back and forth to the front door to give candy out to the kids trick-or-treating. The 4th or 5th time I get up, I go to the front door, I give candy out to kids on the stoop, and out of the corner of my eye, I see 2 boys at the end of our driveway who showed up. And I use their full names no matter where I'm standing in the country, because I want to give them credit. A kid named Kevin Cryer has it, and a kid named Cameron Jacobs. They showed up. They didn't call. They didn't text. They didn't tell Justin they were coming. And they didn't come to our house for candy. They just showed up. And Kevin saw me on the stoop, and he goes, Mr. Flood, is Justin home? And if he is, can Cameron and I take him out for a couple hours? And I said, yeah, Kev, give me 10 minutes, bro. I'll get him ready. And they took him because they showed up. Sometimes that's all you got to do, guys. In person is awesome. But you can show up with a look, a note, a text, a smile, a tap on the shoulder, a phone call, a message, anything. Just show up. And I guarantee you, there will come thousands of days in your life. Ask any adult in this building. There will come thousands of days in your life when you will need someone to show up for you. And if you've done it consistently for other people throughout your life, when those days come, people will show up for you. I promise you that. What's your first challenge? Look on the second challenge, thank to. Where are you going to look when you say thank you? For how long? And your third challenge from this day forward is what? No one? No one? Guys, Kevin and Cameron are the greatest example, and they encapsulate everything that I've said to you today. Show up. Just show up. Thank you.
Hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. If you are interested in joining Peer Power Partners, this is some information to pay attention to. Next one. Peer Power Partners is a group right here at Austin High. It's also at Ellis and IJ. Some of you may have participated at Ellis and IJ, where students with disabilities and general ed students get together to do fun social activities and that revolve around life skills, relationship building, and other social activities. The 2 coordinators here at Austin High are JC Bodie and Leanne Korn. And if you are interested in hearing more about Peer Power Partners and joining, you can use this QR code on your phone to get more information and sign up, or contact either Mr. Bodie or Ms. Korn. and they'll tell you more information about it. And if you are a Pacelli student, get my phone here. I'm pretty sure you talked to Mrs. Robinson, Mr. Malo, or Mrs. McQuinn. Thank you for all your great attention today, and here is Mrs. Gunderson.
Yeah, you got it right. All right, just want to say a huge thank you very much to Mr. Flood for joining us today. And at this time, and thank you for Pacelli for coming. At this time, the high school students can go to their 7th hour. Have a great day.